Evening to everyone. I, Neodev Ghosh, Peace House Vice Captain.
And I, Vedant Narayan, Unity House Vice Captain.
Welcome you all to the digital platform of BHIS Council Chronicles.
BHIS has always been innovative with respect to its extracurricular activities.
BHIS Chronicles, time and again, has been making lovely endeavors to open the arena of widespread knowledge through the vast spectrum of speakers from different fields.
BHIS Student Council takes the initiative with an enterprising and informative session with Mr. Vishal Verma.
Mr. Vishal Verma is the Director of Global Events at the World Scholars Cup, which is a global academic tournament conducted in over 50 countries. In 2019, the World Scholars Cup attracted participation from over 40,000 students from 2,200 schools and 93 countries.
As Director, Global Events, Mr. Verma leads the team that organizes large, multi-day academic tournaments in different countries, with the final event at Yale University in the United States each year. The global rounds in 2019 were organized at Beijing, The Hague, Sydney, Manila, and Durban, with over 10,000 participants from 70 plus countries.
As the director, India for the Scholars Cup tournament, he was instrumental in bringing the program to India and expanding it to 11 Indian cities. In 2019, over 6,000 students from 245 schools across India participated in the regional events.
Frontiers Edutainment, the company that Mr. Verma founded in 2010, did pioneering work in the field of educational tourism for school students. He established relations with institutions of global repute such as NASA Space Center, Houston Kennedy Space Center, the US Space and Rocket Center at Huntsville, Alabama, the MIT Museum at Cambridge, CERN in Geneva, Eurospace Center in Belgium, and many others to offer students from India multiple opportunities to enhance their knowledge in the domains of science, leadership, and communications through on site educational programs.
His first venture, Innovision India, was an informal information technology company offering services to clients from over 16 countries.
We would like to welcome our guest speaker for the day, Mr. Vishal Verma, who will throw light on setting yourself up for success. Lessons from the World Scholars Cup.
Not wasting much time, let's ask our guest speaker to talk magniloquently on this topic, which will lead us to give approbation for his magnificent work.
Okay, thank you, Neo and Vedant, for that wonderful introduction. And big hello to all my young friends from Billabong High, Kanpur. I'm going to try and make this as interactive as I can. So whenever I ask you a question, it would be great if you guys can give your answer by chat. Type your answer in the chat window, and I'll track that. So I would like to begin by asking you, which class are you guys studying in? Can you just type in the chat window so that I get a feel of what is your age group? Can you guys just type your grade or your class in the chat window, please? And I also request you to please switch on your camera so I can see your lovely faces this Sunday afternoon. And thank you for being here on a Sunday afternoon. I know it's a holiday and you'd rather be doing fun stuff, but you're here today, so let's try to make this also fun for you guys. So are most of you in grade 5 and 7? Okay. What about you guys, the vice captains? What grade are you in?
So we are from ninth.
Ninth. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir, we are from 9th.
Okay. So the next question to you guys is, how many of you have participated in the World Scholars Cup before, hosted at your school during 2018, 2017, 2016? Can you just put in the chat window. I can't see all the faces at one time, so can you just say yes in the chat window? I guess the ones in grade 7 and grade 5 must not have participated, but most of the older ones would have participated or at least would be familiar with the program, right? So let's begin by talking about a skill that most people pay the least attention to in school. Can you guess what this skill or skills might be? Why don't you take a guess and give me some answers in the chat window, or you can talk if you want.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello. Any guesses? What might be a skill that most people pay the least attention to in school? In my experience, this skill is verbal and written communication. All of you will agree with me that communication is very important, because no matter what your profession is, no matter where you want to build your career, unless you can communicate your ideas clearly, both verbally as well as in written format, it's going to be very hard to convince people about your ideas. And one of the most common reasons why people don't focus on building their verbal, their speaking skills is the fear of public speaking. If you look up Google, you'll find that the fear of public speaking is one of the most common fears that people have. Would you agree with me? If you think that you're also a little afraid of public speaking, say yes in the chat window. And I was in school, I was also scared of speaking in public. I used to avoid going in front of the class and talking or taking part in elocutions or debates or anything to do with speaking in the assembly. It really used to make me very nervous. And what happened is, slowly over a period of time, and there were instances when I just couldn't avoid speaking in front of everyone. I was forced to do that because it was like part of a test, or the teacher made you do it. You couldn't say no. You had to recite a poem in front of the whole class. So instances like this, I had to go out there and talk. And the more I talked, the more I became more and more confident about talking in front of people. I realized that it's not as terrible as I was fearing it to be. So I encourage all of you also, to give it a shot. Whenever you're given an opportunity to talk in public, you should always go out there and don't shy away from speaking in public. Now at the World Scholars Cup, we have this whole debate event. I'll come back to the World Scholars Cup a little towards the end, but the whole debate event is designed to give young students like you an easy introduction to public speaking. The second important skill that I was referring to is written communication. Now, it is very important that you convey your ideas in a very appropriate manner by putting them down in writing on paper or on your computer. These days, everyone sends emails, or you might have to create a report. So whatever you're trying to convey, it should be very clear, concise, logical. So right in your school, in your class, in 5th standard or 7th standard or 8th standard, these are the years when you really build your communication skills, both verbal as well as written. Because once you go to college or university, no one is going to really teach you the basics of communication. It is something that you must really focus on when you are in school. So in written communication, you should focus on getting your grammar correct. Focus on sentence construction, how to construct great sentences so that people understand what you're trying to say. The whole composition, what your teachers ask you to write essays or composition. So you must really focus on doing a great job with these. Because as I said, no matter what field you're going to work in, whether you're a doctor or you're a scientist or you're an engineer or your own business, you always will be required to communicate your ideas, your thoughts. If you can't communicate well, how will you convince your clients or your team or your vendors to really, support you and get your work done? So, first thing that I wanted to talk about today was communication. Um, the next idea I want to talk to you about today is related to creativity. Now, I'm sure all of you are very well informed about artificial intelligence and robotics and all the changes that technology is bringing in. I want to share some instances or examples with you about how fast things are changing. In 2009, I went to Germany and I had a chance to visit the BMW factory in Germany. Now, when I went there, the BMW car factory, I was quite amazed because most of the work of building the cars was being done by robots. And this was in 2009, 11 years ago. Now things are much more advanced. I wanted to just share a quick picture with you about the BMW car factory in Germany. Let me show you that, yeah. Just give me a minute, I'll share my screen with you. Okay, can you see this picture, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so these orange thingies, what you see on the picture, they're all robots, okay? They are called industrial robots. And you don't see a single, person. Usually you would have a team of engineers or people, skilled people working on the shop floor, on the factory floor, building these cars. But you see here, all the work is being done by robots. So the people who were working in these factories earlier, many of them have been made redundant by robots. Let me show you another picture. This picture, it just came out in the news a few days ago. Do you guys remember seeing this in the media? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is a robo taxi. So you're going to use an app. You're going to call the taxi. The taxi has no driver, as you can see. You get into the taxi, it will use a GPS, it will use its auto navigation systems, it will take you to your destination. So the job of a driver is at risk over here. They're going to get eliminated over a period of time. If you remember, if you go to a bank in India, there are like so many people over there, you give them your passbook, they'll fill it out. Your parents would be familiar with this, but right now banks employ a lot of people. But now what we're seeing is that they've started using bots. You send a WhatsApp message, what's my bank balance or what's my bank statement, and you will get the message, you'll get a reply, all the details on WhatsApp. You don't actually need to go to the bank and get your passbook filled out to get all that information. So the jobs, the people who are sitting in the bank and doing that job, those jobs are going to get reduced and eliminated over a period of time. The next picture I wanted to show you is this store. It's the Amazon store in USA. This store is a completely automated store. There are no people inside to check you out to see what you bought, do the billing. All that is not there in this store. So what do? You start your app. You go in your Amazon app, you go in, you pick up whatever you want to buy. And they have so many cameras and sensors all over the store. They're just tracking all the time what you're buying. And when you're ready to move out, you just walk out. And the cameras and sensors have tracked everything what you bought. So they'll bill it to your Amazon account, which is linked to your credit card. And they get paid, and you're out of the shop in a few minutes without having to stand in a line to check out. And what has happened over here is the jobs of the cashiers, the people at the checkout counters, they're gone. This is, you guys all like pizza. Domino's is one of the big brands in India of pizza. They've started using drones to deliver the pizza instead of sending delivery boys. Now, all this might be a little, might take a little time in India to come because we have so many people and labor is cheap in India, salaries are not that high. But eventually you will find that all the tasks which can be done by robots or can be done by artificial intelligence or which are very repetitive kind of jobs, they'll all slowly start getting eliminated. So can you guys tell me what are the kind of jobs that or careers that will do really well in the future? Any ideas? Can you share them in the chat?
So IT specialists, coders, network developers.
Yes. What else?
So anything regarding computer management, computer science, and internet technologies.
Okay, that's one. What else? Anyone?
So science, engineers.
Yes. So you're going to have jobs. There is definitely going to be a lot of jobs for people who are involved in creating all this technology. But not everyone can work in technology. So the other jobs that that are hard to replace uh, are related to creativity, design, and decision making, leadership, because a computer can give you all the data, it can give you information, but to make a decision, it can give you pointers to make a decision, but big decisions will still have to be made by human. A computer may not be able to take big decisions, and you don't want them to take big decisions. You still want to be in control and make the big decisions. All the design work, whether it's designing a user interface or designing a game or designing, or making movies, um, designing, fashion designing, wherever creativity is involved, all these jobs are hard to replace using artificial intelligence or robotics or technology. So my suggestion to you is that all of you should work on improving not only your creative skills, but also work on improving your decision making and your leadership skills. So let's talk about creativity. What is creativity? Can anyone share what is creativity? What does creativity mean to you? Can you share it in the chat window? Anyone who wants to share in the chat window? What is creativity? Okay, one definition of creativity is that creativity is the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. Okay, there might be many definitions, so this is one of the definitions. So how do you focus on developing your creativity? So these are my suggestions to you. One, you stay curious. Stay curious about how things work. Why this way? Why not this way? Cultivate some kind of a hobby. Could be reading, could be drawing, could be music. Anything that is to do with your right brain thinking. A human mind, your brain is, according to scientists, it has two halves. Left half is related to logic, rational thinking, and your right side is more related to the creative thinking. So things that improve your creative skills. So as I was saying, reading, drawing, music, art, uh, even games, and experiment. Do experiments and feel free to make mistakes, because no one really learns without making mistakes. And this is your age to make mistakes and learn from those. So never be afraid to make mistakes, because there's a lot you can learn from the mistakes you make. I believe all of you, each one of you, everyone has some or the other talent within them. So can you guys share what do you think is your talent? You know, you might be really good at maybe playing some kind of a game, or you might be really good at drawing, or you might be good at singing. Uh, you might be good at something which is very unusual. So can you guys share with me in the chat window what is it that you are, you know, what do you think your talent is? Someone is great at cooking. It could be anything. Coding, yeah, that's good, Krishnansh.
Sir,
Yes.
I might be good at analyzing.
Yes, you can be good at analyzing. Analytics is a very big field these days. A lot of information needs to be analyzed. So yes, you could be good at analyzing. What else?
Sir, painting and drawing.
Painting and drawing. Very good. Very good.
I have made many.
You have made many paintings. Very good. Anyone else wants to share? Okay, so I believe all of you have some or the other talent.
Psychology?
Yes, why not? Why not? Yeah, reading and human psychology. Yes, definitely.
So,
Yes.
so painting and maths.
Yeah, that's a great combination because painting and maths, as I said, you know, maths uses a lot of your left side of the brain, and painting uses right side. So you're using both sides of the brain. That's great. So everyone has some talent, you know. Some of you have shared what your talent is. Now, my suggestion to you is that you identify and you nurture this talent. Work on improving it a little bit every single day. Even if you improve it 1% a day, it will make a huge difference. Let me show you how. Okay. So let me ask you a question. I'll share my screen again, guys. Okay. Let me ask you this question. What is 1.01 raised to 365? Now, have you studied this raised to, you know what it means? I don't know if it's standard, whether you've studied or not. Okay, let me put it simply. 1.01 raised to 365 means you multiply 1.01 into 1.01 into 1.01 365 times. Why am I saying 365 times? Because there's 365 days in a year, right? So if you focus on improving your skill or your talent just by 1% a day, every day of the year, how many times better you think you will get at that by the end of the year? Any guesses? You would get better by 37 times. So if you are like, you know, you will be 37 times better than what you are today if you improve yourself just 1% every day. Now, this is initially it might be easy, but once you're done like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, it becomes hard. But that doesn't mean you give up. You still continue working on improving yourself at that tiny 1% every day in whatever area you think you're good at. Conversely, if you don't improve, when you start slipping, you don't work on nurturing those talents or those skills, and you start slipping by 1% a day, at the end of the year, you would be close to zero. That means your talent would be, or your skill would be close to zero if you're slipping. If you maintain yourself at that level, then you will be at that level. But if you improve yourself just 1%, you're going to be so many times better than what you're today. It can be your studies, it can be a game you play, it can be your hobby, whatever area you want to focus on. If you work on improving yourself just 1%, the results at the end of the year are going to be dramatic, provided you sustain this 1% every day. Okay. Now, let me give you an example of the British cycling team and how they implemented this 1% success every day. So the British cycling team, the last, between 1908 and 2008, they did very badly in cycling. They just won one gold medal that was in 1960 or somewhere around there. Okay. They were so bad that the cycle manufacturers, they didn't want to be associated with this team because they thought that people will think that the cycles were bad. So they wanted nothing to do with this team. So what changed? In 2003, they got a new coach. And this coach, he started convincing them to do these tiny little improvements every day. One day, they chose a better seat for the cycles. One day they worked on developing some new exercise routine. The next day they worked on some biosensors that told them how well their muscles, their leg muscles were working. One day they got a seat that was slightly warm so that it didn't feel too cold while practicing. One day they got slightly lighter clothing that they wore while cycling. And they kept finding these small 1% kind of incremental improvements day after day after day for a long time. And guess what? In the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, they got 60% of all the medals in the cycling events. They totally dominated the cycling event and they crushed the competition. And there is another, very prestigious cycling race in France called Tour de France. Now, between these years, 1908 and 2015, no Britisher had really won that race. And from 2015 to 2018, every year there was a British, one of these cycling team members who was winning. So they were really dominating that. And how did they get there? Just by finding and making these tiny changes every day. So this is an example that I came across in a book I was reading recently called Atomic Habits, how tiny, improvements in your habits make huge difference if you do them for a long period of time. Now, next thing I want to talk to you about is how do you improve your decision-making skills, right? You can do that by using critical thinking. Take some time to understand what the actual problem is. Analyze that. Think of your past experience. Think of the knowledge you have, how it can be applied to solve this problem or this situation. This situation can be something in your life, in your class, in your playground. So give it some thought, try to think, use the knowledge you have, use your experience, what happened when you did something like this in the past, and then take a decision. If you don't have knowledge about something, look it up online, ask your teacher, ask your parents, improve your knowledge, and then take a decision. So this is what we also do when we are working. We use all the knowledge we have, we use our experience. If we don't have some knowledge, we try to get that knowledge. We find it online, we ask some experts, and then we make these decisions. So if you start doing this from a young age, this is something that, that you really need throughout your life. Next is leadership skills. Now, we have the vice captains, we have the captains, we have the student council. They have taken up something extra other than their routine studies. They have taken some extra responsibilities. They are responsible for certain duties and they do their best to deliver on those responsibilities. Now, not all of you can become a student council member. You have to wait till you get to that class, and then only some of you can be given that opportunity. But you can start practicing leadership in your daily life. How do you do that? Take charge of small things. Maybe just might be something as small as keeping your room clean, or taking care of your family pet, or your parents might give you some little tasks to do. So do those to the best of your ability. And that's how you can slowly start building up your leadership skills. Take responsibility for something, do it to the best of your ability every single day. The next area I'm going to talk to you about is collaboration. Now, going forward, it's going to be very, very difficult to succeed without collaborating with others. Even people who we think are, have succeeded all on their own, like maybe movie star or a tennis player. These are all like, they're individuals. They have also collaborated with people to succeed. So can you tell me in the chat window, who do you think a movie star collaborates with to get success? Any ideas? Can you give me some answers in the chat window? Or a tennis player. Who does a tennis player collaborate with to succeed in a game of tennis? Any
So
ideas?
sports brands.
Yes, new?
Sports brands. Sports brand.
Sports brands, okay. Anyone else? So a movie star will collaborate, yes, Agastya, with other actors, co-actors, with the director of the movie, with the dance director or the choreographer, with their makeup people who do their makeup for them, with the producer. So there are a whole lot of people, people who do their publicity for them, people who do set up the interviews for them. So they have a whole team and they all collaborate. And the job of the team is to help this movie star become successful, but they all are collaborating together. And unless they collaborate and cooperate, they're not going to be successful. A tennis player, he collaborates or she collaborates with a coach, with a nutritionist, with a mental health trainer who can train them how to achieve peak performance mentally, because there are these high pressure games that they go out and play and you have to be mentally strong to be able to do well. So there, no matter what you do, you will find that you have to collaborate with a lot of people. And increasingly this collaboration is going to be cross-border, it's going to be international. And you can see that technology has made it so easy for collaboration to be international now. Using Zoom, you can talk to students or you can talk to people from all across the world. And what people have realized in this pandemic is that people can actually do a good job working from home. They don't have to come to office every day. And if they don't have to come to office every day, that means they can be located anywhere in any country. What this means is that now companies can choose the best talent from across the world. They do not have to choose people who can come physically to their office every day. So that means you could work for some of the top companies right from Kanpur, right? So this will open up a huge amount of opportunities for all of you. But I must caution you that the competition for the best jobs will also increase, because now you're competing with people from all across the world. And so you really have to work on improving all your skills. You have to bring your A game, as they say. You really have to be good at what it takes to succeed. So you will find yourself working with people from various different countries and various different cultures. So it's very important that you develop cross-cultural understanding, appreciate other people's cultures. Now, not everyone eats the same food that you do, or dresses the same way as you dress, or speaks the same language, or looks like you. We have people of different ethnicities, so we have to learn to respect all the various cultures. Just because someone looks different or speaks a different language or eats different food doesn't mean we mock them or we disrespect them. So it's important that you develop an appreciation for all kind of cultures. The next idea I want to share with you is that all knowledge is interconnected. the world does not divide knowledge into compartments like science and social studies and history, and everything is interconnected, right? Let me give you an example. Now, since we are in the middle of this pandemic, the last pandemic was in 1918, the Spanish flu. Now, people are studying what happened during that time. How did the disease spread? How long did it take to come under control? What happened to the economy? What happened to people's jobs? So this is history, and it's correlated to science. It's correlated to economics and finance. So as you see, everything is kind of intermeshed. It's all interconnected. So, in school we often say, okay, I'm good at science, or I'm good at literature. So let me, focus only on that. I'll neglect the other subjects. But my suggestion to you is that please try and get knowledge in all the subjects. Build a well-rounded personality who is aware of all the subjects, all the knowledge you can get, because later on when you go on, you'll find that all this knowledge is correlated. Let me give you another example. Now, when I was your age, I used to watch this serial called Star Trek. It's still available. The new seasons are still there on Netflix and Amazon. Some of you might be seeing it. But back in the 80s, let me show you a picture. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. In the 80s, Star Trek, the characters, it was a science fiction show. It still is, if you've seen it. It talked about a device called a communicator. So let me share this photo. Okay, so this character, his name is Captain Cook, and he is the captain of this spaceship called Enterprise. What you see in his hand, it's called a communicator. This was in like 1981 or something. And there was a book on which the series was made that was written in the 1970s. And if you see that device in his hand, it looks very familiar because it looks like somewhat like an old cell phone that used to be there like 10 years ago. So as you can see, something that was there in literature inspired a TV series and inspired people to actually think about making such a device, which is your cell phone, which is your smartphone, which almost everyone uses today. So what I'm trying to say is that something in literature was related to something in science and technology, and something which inspired people to actually create something like this. So this is another example about how knowledge is interconnected. And that's the reason that all the subjects that we study in the World Scholars Cup, the students who study 6 subjects, they are all kind of interconnected. So public speaking and writing, and let me stop sharing this. Yeah. So public speaking, writing, critical thinking, leadership, a sensitization to other cultures, develop an appreciation for other cultures. These were some of the factors that we thought about while designing the World Scholars Cup. And as New and Vedant shared, now this program is spread to more than 90 countries, with more than 40,000 students participating. Why it has been successful is because I believe that it's helping children like you develop the skills that we talked about. They're getting better at public speaking, getting better at writing, they've started thinking critically, and they're meeting students from other countries and other cultures. They're developing a cross-cultural understanding. And this makes the whole team of the World Scholars Cup very happy, because this is what we want students like you to learn. This is what is going to help you in the future. Finally, I would like to end by giving you, sharing with you a story of 3 young boys from Chennai. Now, these three boys, they came and they participated first time in the World Scholars Cup in 2016. And during that time, that year, they did fairly well at the local event in Chennai. They qualified for a global round, uh, which attracted about 3,000 students from all over the world, and it was held in Bangkok. And now at the global round, so the World Scholars Cup is in three stages. First is a regional round at the schools, at a city level, and they go to the global round where students from many countries come, and the final event is in Yale University in the United States, as was mentioned by Neo and Vedant. So these three boys, they came to the global round in Bangkok, and maybe they didn't expect the level of competition they would see up there, because once you go out there, you really know where you stand in the world, because you have these students, and some of them, like Koreans, the Chinese, they work really, really hard. They put in a whole lot of effort. And these three guys, young boys, 13, 14 years old, they didn't qualify for the final event, and they just couldn't stop crying. They were very disappointed, kept crying and crying. But they didn't give up. They went back, they studied very hard. They came back the next year. Next year, they did better. They qualified for the global round, which was in Vietnam. They qualified for the Tournament of Champions. But in the Tournament of Champions and also in Vietnam, they were not among the top. They were not among the top 100 teams also. They were below 100. But they did not give up again. And they came back in 2018. And this time they were really, really well prepared. They had probably worked on improving all their skills, their speaking skills, their writing skills, their thinking skills. They had studied all the subjects very well, and this time they came first in the world in the global round. There were more than 4,500 students there in Hanoi that year. In Kuala Lumpur, and then they came to the Tournament of Champions in Yale, and over there as well, where they have all the top teams from the different global rounds. There's more than one global round every year. And all the top teams from these global rounds, from this academic tournament, they qualify for the top position at Yale University. And so these students, they came first over there as well, and which was a moment of pride for everyone in India, because we could prove before this, none of the teams in India had come in the top 30. And here were these three guys from Chennai who were really slogged and who did really well. And they demonstrated that students from India have what it takes to really excel at a global level, to prove to the world that students from India are no less than students from any other country in the world, even the so-called first world countries or countries which have an excellent education system. So let me share a picture of these guys with you. So these, there was a lot of media coverage and all. They got famous in Chennai and elsewhere. The interviews came in the papers. So just wanted to share this with you, because I believe that all of you also, if you work on improving your skills, working hard, if you have that perseverance and the ability to do hard work, all of you also have that potential to really succeed, to really do well on a global level. So with that, I will end my talk for today, but I'm going to open this up to any questions that you might have. So I see some questions in the chat window. So let me answer those. And if anyone else has any questions, I'll be happy to take those as well. So the first question that I'm seeing is from Agastya. So as technology is taking place of human work, what will happen to jobless manpower? Is automation a threat? Do we need to learn specific skills? Okay. So Agastya, my belief is that the jobless manpower will have to find something else to do. the people who lose their jobs doing a job as a taxi driver or a delivery boy or a cashier at a store or any other job that has been made redundant will have to upgrade their skills and learn to do something else. This might take longer in countries like India, where there are a lot of people. What happens is when there are a lot of people, you can get away by paying a lower salary. But in countries in the West where the population is not that much, the salary levels are very high. And people want to reduce, the companies want to reduce the costs by letting go of such people so that they save on the salary. So these people will have to really work on upgrading their skills or studying things which are going to be in demand, such as information technology, such as design, such as skills that require thinking and decision making and leadership. So that was my reason for sharing with you that you should start focusing on all these right from now when you're in school. Any other questions? Yes. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I had a question.
Yes, Neo, yes.
Sir, is there any possibility of a World Scholars Cup happening online?
So I was talking to our whole team, and now one of the biggest advantages of World Scholars Cup is this whole sense of community that happens, where everyone comes together and talks face to face and shares face to face. We find that it's a little hard to do this online, and I'm not sure whether our students are going to enjoy staring into a camera and talking to each other. So now that we are, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, we can see that the vaccine is on its way and people will start getting a vaccine soon, and schools are likely to reopen in the next few months. So I think we're going to wait for a few more months and then try and bring the live events again, which everyone can enjoy. Because it's hard to, bring events like the talent show. And I mean, it's not a whole lot of fun to see someone, singing in their drawing room or dancing in their bedroom. Let's do it in a better way when, things are back to normal. Yeah, that also, I think, answers the question from Harsh Singh, who asked a similar question. Right. Yes, Agastya.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I have a question.
Yes, Agastya. Are you feeling better or are you feeling sad
Sir, your
still?
voice is cracking.
I'm saying, are you feeling any better or are you still feeling sad?
I'm feeling better.
Very good. Yes, what's your question?
Sir, how can verbal communication help in case of bullying? Like if I know that someone is taking fun of my humbleness, then what should I do?
Okay, now in case of bullying, how can verbal communication help you? One is, you can definitely go and talk to your parents about it. You can talk to your school authorities about it. So you're able to explain clearly to them what the problem is and why you're being bullied, and so that is unless you are able to express yourself and tell people how you feel. You can also maybe try to talk to your bully and tell him how exactly you feel and what action you can take against him if he doesn't stop that bullying. So it's important that you communicate well to all the people involved. These may be your parents, it may be your teachers, it might be your bully, might be your friends who can help you talk to this bully and sort out things for you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else have any questions?
No, sir.
All right. So, ma'am.
So I
Yes,
have a last
yes, Agastya, please go ahead.
Sir, how to make verbal communication interesting?
How to make verbal communication interesting? Okay, one, you should not talk in a flat kind of monotone, which kind of bores people or So use voice, change your voice, go up, use some hand movements, talk, do research about if you're going to give a speech, you should do research about how you're going to make it interesting. Think of it from your audience point of view, what your friends, what your classmates would like to listen. And there are many tips and tricks that you can find online about how to be a better speaker. All right? Okay. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. So, ma'am, Smita, should we end our session for today?
Yes, sure. It was a very nice, enlightening session, and we came to know so many good points, so many new points also. Thank you so much, sir. And I
Thank you,
hope all
ma'am.
the children, all the students of our school enjoyed this session tremendously. Credit goes all to you. Thank you so much, sir, once again. And I
Thank you,
would
ma'am.
request New and Vedant to culminate the session so that we can end up with the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we go, there is one question.
Yes, sir.
So Krishnans has asked
Yes,
that
yeah. According to you, technology is the end of the world or better for our world? Okay. So technology is definitely making some things much, much better, right? So for example, like how we are communicating today, it's using technology. It was not possible to do this a few years ago. The internet is bringing so much knowledge to you at home. You're using, earlier there used to be no computers. Now even hospitals are using robots to perform intricate surgeries, which, in surgeons earlier, if they used to do a surgery, they had to cut open a person's body. And the healing time used to be a lot because it's an invasive process. You're cutting open a body, and then you're doing something inside to the organs, and you're stitching the part of the body back that you've cut open. So it used to take a long time to heal. Now there's a robot called the Da Vinci robot, which makes these tiny incisions in the body, right? And some robotic probe goes inside. The surgeon can see it on a screen in a huge magnification scale. They can see inside the body what it was not possible earlier. They can see exactly what's going inside the body. And using these small, tiny incisions, they can do the corrective surgery. And because the incisions are so small, the healing time is much less. Now, the new vaccine that's come out for COVID, this uses a new technology called messenger RNA, if some of you have read about it. Okay, it's a new technology. It hasn't been used before, but it has given 94, 95% efficacy. That means, most people who get that vaccine are not going to get this, this virus afflicted by this COVID virus. So technology is definitely helping us a lot, but misuse of this technology is going to cause problems. You have internet, but you have OTT. If you just keep binge watching movies or content, or you look at the wrong stuff on the internet, or you have some kids who are bullying other kids using social media, that is misusing the technology. So that is bad for our world. That is making things bad. So please be responsible citizens, please be responsible students, and use the technology for the right purposes. That will enhance your lifestyle. Misusing the technology will make our world a worse off place. Another is you see that so much effects on the planet of mass industrialization, like we are having climate change, we are having pollution. So this is one of the things, the bad effects of maybe over-industrialization or not planning properly. So, used in the proper sense, used in the proper manner, technology will benefit most of us. But if it is misused, if it is not, use of technology is not planned properly, then it will harm our world. So it's really up to us how best we use this technology.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
So,
Thank you,
so I have
Krishansh.
one last question. Just
Yes.
so is this pandemic a curse or a blessing? Because a lot of good things also happened in this pandemic.
Yes. So, see, for most people, this was a complete disruption of their lives, right? Your lives are disrupted. Many people like have lost their jobs. So for I would people it has gone because now you're spending a whole lot of time at home with your parents. So it's in that sense, you know, some relationships have become better, and there have been some benefits also. But overall, I would say that you know it has been disruptive, and people can't wait to get back to their normal lives. Can't wait for the pandemic to end because the disadvantages or the problems are far more than the advantages. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, so I think our hour is almost over. So let's wind up today, and I hope you found something useful and something that you can implement in your lives. Let me just reiterate, please work on improving your verbal and written communication skills. Try to
Yes,
develop
sir. This
some
class was
creative,
very
try
brilliant.
to become a more creative
Thank you.
person and try to develop your leadership skills, your decision making skills, and respect all kind of cultures. So thank you all for being here today, this Sunday afternoon, and I hope all of you are back to school soon and you know everything is back to normal very soon. Thank you, and a big thank you to Preeti ma'am and Dr. Smita and all the staff at Billabong and Neo and Vedant for the amazing job that you guys are doing.
Thank you, sir, for this amazing class.
All right, thank you. And I think I'll exit now and
Yeah,
hope to see
thank
you
you,
guys
sir.
soon.
Thank you,
And
sir.
so I hope to see all of you soon whenever
Thank you, sir.
things are back to normal and we'll have another World Scholars Cup round.
Yes, sir.
All right, okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.